Good evening. Peace, 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 peace to everybody. I hope everyone is staying safe. I'm Real DVS, coming to you on another Devious Tuesday. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. So, you might have noticed I didn't even put up a title, the title of the show or anything, because we need to talk. We need to have some conversations. We need to chill. We need to be with one another, and we need to understand some things. We need to understand a lot of things. I'm going to start with a story. This happened today. Now, if you saw my live earlier, I was on for a few minutes. I was talking about a situation that happened today at the doctor's office, but something else happened at the doctor's office, and that's what I'm going to talk about. That's where we're going to start. Okay, so today I went to the doctor, and my doctor is a group of doctors. So the doctor that saw me, he's the one who usually, sometimes I see him, sometimes I see another doctor. It's a group of doctors. Before I go on, let me just say peace to everybody. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah to the Ummah. And to peace to everybody. I hope everybody is staying safe. Please share the video. Please like the video. I thank you guys for commenting and everything like that. And as always, if there's anything that I say that you disagree with, let me know. And when I say the pocket is the little, the little emoji thing over there in the corner. So if I say hit me in the pocket, that's where y'all go, like, to hit me with the emojis to let me know that y'all understand. And also understand that there's a little bit of a lag, so I won't see it. So, I'm looking for confirmation make sure y'all following the conversation as we go along, all right? So y'all can go ahead and share it now and everything like that. We're going to get to this conversation. So today I went to the doctor, and the doctor that I saw today, I've seen him before. He's a younger guy. I'd say he's in his mid to late 30s, and he's Asian. Now, I think he's like South Pacific Asian. I'm not sure exactly where he's from, but he's Asian. So, everybody has it on their mind about what's going on in the world. So naturally, I go into the doctor's office. We're discussing, my treatment plan. But then he says, so what do you think about all of the riots and everything like that? And he goes, it's crazy to, burn your own stuff. Now, here's the good thing. I had my mask on. So, my face tells everything. I can't hide shit. It's written all over my face, like literally. And so he asked me, and I was so glad that I had the mask on, because my face would have said, it probably wouldn't have looked friendly. So, yeah. So he says, I look at him and I let him continue talking, because I realize that in situations like that, people don't understand certain things. So, I need to hear him out and see where he's going with this. He's like, yeah, it's terrifying. It's scary, but, burning your own stuff, what does that do? He says, what do you think about that? I said, I think people are tired. He says, yeah, but, to burn your own stuff, and he's going on. And, we got into this conversation, and it was in the short time of my doctor's visit, because this is a doctor that I see once a month. So we have a rapport. It's not an extended visit where we have to, go over a whole lot of things. So this conversation takes place, and he's like, I said to him, I said, you really can't see it from your perspective. You really can't see it from your perspective. This is so, it's a weighty issue, because there's so much to say about it, and so much has been said about it. And there's not a whole lot new that I can say, but the one thing that I did focus in on in our conversation was he asked me, he said, what do you think the solution is? And at first I didn't know. If anybody who watches, anybody who's here, who watches this show knows that we talked about this recently. And I'll tell you, I don't have the solution. Now, there are a whole lot of protest marches going on. Now, this is one of the first times in history that I have seen it spread across the world like this pandemic. Protesting across the world because people are so tired of the intolerance. People are so tired of the bigotry, the racism, the hatred. Everybody is fed up. So the conversation progresses, and it dawned on me. I said to him, this is what I said. I said, listen, it isn't going to stop until people have the courage. And I'm going to stop just like that, full stop, until people have the courage. And if you watch this show, you know that is my thing. You can't move forward anywhere without courage. Anywhere. Okay? But my thing is this. Until cops, and there are a lot of good cops. I was walking around the corner in my neighborhood today, and they were doing utility work. And, naturally, they always have an officer in a unit sitting nearby for whatever reason to make sure that the guys working there are safe. And there was an officer in the car, and I spoke to her, and I just let her know. I said, thank you. Full stop. Thank you. Because it's not easy. For the ones that want to do right, for the ones who truly want to help the community, for the ones who get up with a sense of purpose, for the ones who get up with the right intentions. It's not easy. And you see, as an officer, you see another officer doing something, and you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision because, there's the color that we wear, that we are born with. There's this color, but policemen, they put on another color. It's blue. So then it becomes blue against the shades of brown. And that's not how it needs to be. That's not how it should be. And that's not how we can move forward. So I said to him, until the cop that is good, when they see the cop that is bad doing something, until in that moment, they stop and go, you can't do that. We're not accepting that. That's the courage I'm talking about. When your neighbor does not tolerate people of color or calls the police on somebody, and you know that it is only because of this. Until that neighbor has the courage to go next door and say, look, that's not what we're doing here. It won't change. Until you're at work and you hear the racist joke over the top of the cubicle, and even though they're white people or whatever, and they're even if it's people of color, brown shades, because we do, and that was something, I'll get into that in a second. You have to have the courage to go, we are not accepting that here. Because we all witness it in some shape or form, and we tolerate it. We go, look, you know what, they weren't talking to me. We go, oh, that's, it was just a joke. We do it. I've done it. But when it comes to somebody's life, when it comes to somebody's well-being being put in danger, when it comes to physical harm, there needs to be a whole different conversation. And until somebody, until everybody starts exhibiting that courage, because it's not a development. It's not a development. You already have it. All you got to do is use it. But we have to start saying something. There was when 9/11 happened, everybody was around here in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania tri-state area. And it was if you see something, say something. If you're at the airport, you see something suspicious. If you see something, say something. If somebody drops a bag and they walk away from it, if you see something, say something. Why don't we say something when we see something? Now. We have to have that courage in the moment. It is not going to change until we have that courage in the moment. We have to check each other right there in the moment. It's not going to happen any other way. Protesting and showing solidarity is a beautiful thing. And listen. Linda. For all of the people who like to joke about, or not even joke, because it's not a joke. In the Black community, there are things that we say amongst ourselves that somehow leak out. Sometimes we can't keep it contained because there's always somebody listening. Even though they don't say something, they see something and they hear something. But in the Black community, we have that notion that, you know, we don't come together like other people. Can you still say that? In the Black community, there's no unity. What? In the Black community, it's every man for himself. We don't help each other. Excuse me? Y'all are beautiful out there. Y'all are beautiful out there. Y'all are beautiful out there. And what I'm really happy about, see, this is the thing, the plus and minus of technology. Because we have all these phones. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a camera. So when these infiltrators, when these agitators and instigators come in and try to, you know, make things go to, try to raise it to the next level, they know that it's not us anymore. So that lie of it's Black people who are violent can no longer be the narrative. The lie that it is Black people who tear down their own shit can no longer be the narrative. We see what we can do now. I hope everybody is paying attention. I hope everybody is paying attention. Please pay attention. When you see me with post hashtag pay attention, there's something in there. Go to the goddamn article. Pay attention. They can no longer sell us that narrative. That narrative is defective. It is now recalled. It has been taken off the shelves. It is returned to the factory as defective. It didn't work. It didn't work. It doesn't work. It's not going to work anymore unless we let them feed it back to us. We cannot let them feed that narrative back to us, that we can't come together, that we have no power, that we don't have any unity, that we can't get anything done. At this moment in history, we have mobilized the entire world to say we are not going to stand for this. We can't do what? When you wake up in the morning and you feel like you can't do anything and you are tired of looking at the depression that the media keeps promulgating, remember, look at the protest marches. Look at when people find instigators and agitators and interlopers. Look at those videos and know that that is you too. Know that that is you too. Just because you take a spoonful of water out of the ocean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the power of the ocean. Are y'all with me? Because we have to stop buying the narrative that they sell us. And this, you know, I've already feel like I said a whole lot. But what I actually wanted to talk about, the thing that I actually wanted to do the show about tonight, was the narrative of Black on Black crime and how we have bought into that. And it dawned on me as I was doing some research, trying to find out some information about Black on Black crime. It dawned on me that most of the people who watch me, my friends, y'all, which I love, y'all hold me down. It could be two people in here. We gonna rock out and have a conversation. I love y'all. But the narrative that there is such a thing as black on black crime. How did they sell us that narrative? How did we buy that narrative? Because when this tragedy began and people began protesting, there were people, mostly celebrities, and one of them, and if you followed who this is, you know who this is, that's fine. I'm not going to mention anybody's name, but a celebrity said something about, yeah, we have to stick together, we have to do that. But then he said something about black on black crime, and another celebrity, kind of came at his neck about it, and they kind of went back and forth on social media a little, and I was like, wow. So it made me think again, because most of y'all are more, listen, if we have had a conversation, most of us I've gotten the notion that you're intelligent enough to know that there's no such fucking thing as black on black crime. That's something that they sell us so that we are afraid of each other. Crime is not a racial thing. It has to do with economics. It has to do with proximity. But it doesn't have to do with race. The fact that black people live together in communities is why there is what they call black on black crime. But in Arab communities, there's Arab on Arab crime, and in white communities, y'all know that. So that's why I didn't talk about it initially, for the show, because I was like, y'all are smarter than that, right? Y'all already know that there is no such thing. Like, I felt like kind of stupid coming on here saying, yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that there's no such thing as black on black crime. And it dawned on me like I'm sure they know that already. Don't stop letting them sell us this narrative. We can't let them sell us the narrative that we are anything other than the magnificent beings that we are, the creative and creators that we are. We need not accept any other narrative than that. We need to feed that to the kids. We need to feed that We need to feed that everywhere. Thank you. Yes. No matter where you are, whoever is near you, if you are out of food, you go rob the person closest to you to get you some food. If you live in a community and the people look like you, you're going to rob the people that look like you. So I guess what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything tonight, I want us to take a look at what they're saying about us, but actually look at us, because we are more. We are so much more. For the past few days, every morning when I get up, what's one of the first things you do? You wash your face, you brush your teeth, you pick up your phone. And I pick up my phone and I'm looking at these marches and I'm looking at these protests. I'm looking at all these wonderful people, who are capturing these moments in history. And I saw this one video where a cop maced this baby. She couldn't have been no more than 4 or 5 years old. He maced the baby. And they were trying to that's when they started looting to get milk and stuff to, counteract the effects of the pepper sprays and things, the mace. And these kids, because, I'm always, with me, it's about the cheerings. And I'm wondering, we have to make sure that the children know exactly what this is about. Don't let them change this narrative into anything other than exactly what it is. And when I say we, I mean the whole world, we have to start being courageous enough to say no to the person who's next door. Because it's not going to change with policy. You can change policy all you want. They have made policy changes and all manner of things that are supposed to make it cohesive. But until we just start having honest conversations Until we just begin to have the honest conversation in the moment with courage. You're doing something that we are not going to tolerate here. What you're doing is wrong. Why don't we have those conversations? Why can't we say that? You see somebody calling the police on somebody for no reason, or no good reason, or a reason that is racially motivated. Let's stick with that. If you see something, say something. I guess that's going to be the title of this episode. If you see something, say something. You have to have the courage. See, here's the thing. I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to get out of here. Courage, gangsters, and protesters. That's what I want. The last two things I want to talk about: gangsters and protesters. Because I saw a video. Again, we all do, I guess, at this point in history. Saw a video and the guy was like, I didn't even watch the whole video, but I just caught the part where he was like, "We're all of the, the gangsters and the thugs." Now, the good part about it is we don't want violence. We don't want people to die unnecessarily. Because this is the other thing, and I don't know how to reconcile this. Maybe y'all can help me. I don't know how to reconcile this. This is another thing that the doctor asked me. Because he said, innocent people are getting killed. And I think my answer was a little too callous for him, but it was just the truth. There is no revolution that you're going to have where there is not, or historically has not been bloodshed. And I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying you have to look at what actually happened. If you want something different, you have to be a part of that change. You can't sit in a doctor's office and say, this is this and this is this. And you can't tell your coworker if they're not you can't call them on their shit, basically. You have to have that courage too. The courage of the protesters and the people, and I love I don't want to call them sympathizers, but it's the people who are fed up as well. Whether you're brown or whatever color you are, people are just fed up of that attitude because it's sickening and it's toxic in our community. And the people who come out who are not brown, white, I hate saying white people. I hate these color things. But anyway, we're going to use them right now. White people come out and they're like, look, we are tired of this. When you go back home, white people, you still have to have the courage when your racist brother-in-law comes over and starts telling the nigger jokes. You have to have the courage to say, we're not doing that. When your 80-something-year-old granddaddy or daddy or whatever starts talking about the niggers and how they just need to just kill them all and all that, you have to have the courage to say, we're not doing that. You can't come out in the street and protest and then go back home and allow the shit. You can't do that. That's how this shit spreads in secret and silence. And that's how it gets its breath. That's how it gets motivation. That's how it keeps moving. Because we allow it. Oh, that's just Uncle Jim. Oh, that's just old granddad. Well, granddad better shut his motherfucking mouth. Because we not doing that. So I think it was last week, we kind of talked about that. And look, you want a solution that everybody got to have the courage. We got to collectively have the courage. The same courage that we take to the street, we got to take it back home. It begins there. It begins at home. That's where the racism begins. That's where the intolerance begins. That's where the abuse begins. That's where they learn all of the ways to antagonize people and terrorize people. It begins in the house. Those attitudes are embedded. People think, there's little kids around and they say offhanded, racist remarks or, whatever. And they think the kids don't pick it up and absorb it. Or maybe they want them to. But it all starts in the house. It all starts at home. So until the people, as many people as we have out in the streets, and I applaud you guys. I love you guys. I am expecting great things to come from this. I am willing great things to come from this. And I am willing great change to come from this. But that's how we're going to change. We have to have the courage. Everybody. The police officers have to have the courage to say, you can't do that. We're not going to let you do that. Nothing's going to change without courage. Nothing's going to change without courage. We can't get to any conversations and any of that. We can't begin to change without courage. You want a solution? Develop your courage. All of the gangsters, make sure that these people are safe out here. You ain't got to bring your guns. You ain't got to, wild out. Y'all want some recognition? Y'all want some respect? You want to be reputable? I saw a beautiful video with the men of Omega Psi Phi lined up outside. I ain't gonna throw y'all sign up. But listen, black men, I love y'all. Every last one of you. I love y'all. You're beautiful, strong, intelligent, organized, reputable. You are gods. So keep creating. We can make this over. It ain't gonna happen immediately, obviously. But we have to use that courage. It is here for us to use. Use your courage. When you see something, you got to say something right then and there. No longer can we tolerate this. We can't tolerate this anymore. Too many people are dying. And, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I might have mentioned it last week. And I'm really for real going to get out of here. I was having a conversation as usual with a friend of mine. We were talking about that Amy woman, Cooper, and how she weaponized, skin color. And, I put up a post last week and sent the email to the New York prosecutor asking, has she been charged? Why hasn't she been charged? Because she made a conscious decision to put his life in danger. But, I'm not going to be passionate about that. You know why? Because nobody gets convicted. We have to change that. We have to have the courage. Now, unless you want... I heard another celebrity say, and this was a couple of years ago, in regard to something else, that he was tired of seeing slave movies. He said he was tired of seeing slave movies. They were making slave movies. They're always depicting us as slaves. And, he was tired of seeing that. The reason that bothers me is that if you know enough about history and remember that they used to feed the babies to babies of black children, black women, black families, slave children. They used to feed them to alligators. They used to call little black babies gator bait is what they used to call them. We're not using our critical thinking tools and equating what that woman did to what happened to Emmett Till. A white woman said that Emmett Till whistled or looked at her or whatever she accused him of doing, and he's dead. Just because she said that. Do you know how powerful that is? And what bothered me even more was when the man got on TV and backpedaled. Oh, I'm sorry about the fact that she lost her job. I didn't intend for all of that. Listen, and I'm not judging him because I can't stand in his shoes. I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't grow up in his life. That had to be difficult. That had to be very difficult. But I wish that he would have taken a moment more before he spoke and realized that what could have happened to him was he could have been deprived of the opportunity to continue living. That's something that a lot of us take for granted. The opportunity to continue living. Because it's an opportunity. And many people have had that opportunity taken away. And that is what this is all about. So he had opportunities to go to Harvard, and he had opportunities to join the Birdwatcher Society, and he felt free, I like that word, enough to let this woman know that she was breaking the rules of the park, and she weaponized his skin color. She weaponized his skin color. And that's the most bothersome thing in the world to me. Because there's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't come off. But enough about that. I am going to get out of here now because I feel myself getting a little emotional. And I didn't intend to be. So I'm going to get out of here now. So I ask everybody to please, all of us know someone who has told us a story about, you know, some encounter they've had, or maybe we've had one ourselves with somebody and we didn't put as much stock into it as we should have. And oftentimes we're made to feel like these experiences that we have with people, that if we do say something, that we're overreacting. I think they call it, is that what gaslighting is? I don't know. Your feelings won't betray you in that. Take control of your narrative, of the narrative that is being fed to you. How much of it you're going to eat. And it's okay to leave some on the plate. All of it does not have to go into you. Please remember, if there's anything that you take away, if you are watching this video by happenstance or on purpose, please remember a few things for me. One, if you see something when it comes to racism or intolerance or situations, I'm not talking about go snitch on somebody. I'm talking about develop the courage to say to the person, that's not tolerable. You don't even have to have a conversation about it. It's not tolerable. We're not tolerating that here. And when you see it, say it in the moment. The more of us that do that, I think we'll begin to see some change. Don't let them control the narrative. All these protests, again, I'll say, all these protests are absolutely beautiful. People are making sure that peace is kept, which shows that black people are not violent. Black people can come together. They can unify. They can organize. They can help each other. They can show up. They are powerful. They are strong. They are intelligent. They are beautiful. Yes, we are. All of these shades of brown and tan and gold and ebony. We can do it. Or we can begin. We can make it better than what it is right now. So, as you guys walk on this road of life, if you should happen to stumble, remember that the harder you fall, the higher you bounce. Always remember that when you're tripping. I'm Real DVS and I'm about to get out of here, but I first need to say two things. One, Marie, thank you for this cool crown. This is the dopest, and I haven't worn it in a minute. I said, let me rock it, let me rock it, let me rock it. And if my sister Tammy is in here, The Beauty of Nin, please check out her page on Instagram and on Facebook. And I'm not sure if I think she's on Twitter as well. But definitely on Instagram and Facebook, Beauty of Nin, N-Y-N. Handmade jewelry. You can design it and see if she can make it. Because I asked her to make me this. and I think she did an amazing job. So as you know, my friends who got businesses, y'all check out my group, I'm Real Devious Business and Promotion. And if you have a black business or a small business or some business that you want to share with people in this time, let's go ahead and share it in there so that we can help one another. All right. I love you guys for watching. I thank you for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share the video, and I will put it up on YouTube as soon as I possibly can. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube page, please do so. Please subscribe to the YouTube page. I'm still plotting what I want to give y'all because there's some... I'll be with y'all. I'll be right with y'all in a moment on that one. All right. So, I'm Real Devious. I'm going to get out of here. So, oh goodness. To everybody who watched, I appreciate and love you guys. Absolutely. I'm not going to say everybody's name, but, courage. If you got nothing else, keep courage. Hey everybody, it's Real DVS. I just want to provide a little perspective on some things to back up what I was saying during the show. In regard to, we keep asking for things in increments. This is not the first time that there have been rebellions or protests of this magnitude. Of course, everybody knows that, you know, the first African-American indentured servants arrived in the American colonies in 1619. 1739, the Stono Rebellion, one of the earliest slave revolts, occurred in Stono, South Carolina. That's 281 years ago. Congress bans further importation of slaves 64 years later in 1808. Excuse me. The Dred Scott versus Sanford case, 1857, where Congress does not have the right to ban slavery in the United States. Slaves are not citizens. That was only 163 years ago. 1861, the Civil War began. That was only 157 years ago. Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation proclaims that all slaves in rebellious territories are forever free in 1863. 154 years ago, for those of you who know what the black codes are, they are passed by all white legislators of the former Confederate states. Congress passes the Civil Rights Act, conferring citizenship on African Americans and granting them equal rights to whites. That's the beginning of separate but equal. And in that same year, the Ku Klux Klan was formed in Tennessee. The 14th Amendment is ratified, defining citizenship in 1868. In 1877, 143 years ago, the era of Reconstruction ends. A deal is made with Southern Democratic leaders, which makes Rutherford B. Hayes president in exchange for withdrawal of federal troops from the South, and puts an end to efforts to protect civil rights of African Americans. 143 years ago. 139 years ago, in 1881, Tennessee passes the first of the Jim Crow segregation laws. We remember those well. Segregating state railroads. Similar laws are passed over the next 15 years throughout the southern states. In 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson case, racial segregation is ruled constitutional by the Supreme Court. The Jim Crow separate but equal laws begin, barring African Americans from equal access to public facilities. And in 1864, the Civil Rights Act is signed, prohibiting discriminations of all kinds. In 2008, Barack Obama becomes the first African American to win the U.S. presidential race. And in 2013, Mississippi becomes the last state to ratify the emancipation of freed slaves. Now, there are a couple of things that I would just like to mention. When a people steal you from your land, rape your women and you, because they rape the men as well, and the children, and kill you and enslave you, and then a couple hundred years later, the descendants of those people turn around and make that narrative yours. They say that you were going to rape their women. They say that you were going to steal from them, that you are going to pillage. It takes a certain kind of psychosis to administer that type of transference over an entire generation, over generation after generation, rather, and throughout society. It is a very sick-minded individual that perpetuates that narrative, and then when people say we are tired of it, tries to spin it back on them and say, no, it's you. Well, where do we get that from? I'm going to leave you with this. For those of you, when you were listening, you heard I said we need to rewrite the Constitution. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America begins the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated.